We're just concluding the Chazorah, the Teichen Inyanim of the Maimah we just finished. We're in the middle of it. So just running through it again. So Yaakov and Yisrael corresponds to the Akev of the Neshama, the heel, and the head of the Neshama. And that's the difference between the weekday, where he says, Lahibit Oven, he doesn't see any sin, because there could be. And Shabbos, he doesn't see Omol, he doesn't see agitation. There could be, but there isn't. The transition from weekday to Shabbos is the immersion, the Tefillah on Erev Shabbos. To understand this, he prefaces to understand the schar of Gan Eden and to explain the difference between Gan Eden HaTachten and Gan Eden HaElyon. There too, there's an Omud, not the Har Dinur. The Har Dinur, the river of fire, is between Gehenna and Gan Eden. But there is an similar inyan, the Omud between Gan Eden HaTachten, the pillar, and Gan Eden HaElyon. So what's the difference between the two? We're going to learn more about this in the next Maimah. Gan Eden is two inyanim. It's a yichud of Gan and Eden. Eden is the source, and Eden is the mashpi, and Gan is the makabel, as it were. So it's Gan Eden HaElyon, Gan Eden HaTachten. So that's the yichud of Yud-K is Gan Eden HaElyon, and Gan Eden HaTachten is the yichud of Vav-Hei. So the Gan in Gan Eden HaElyon is Bina, Malchus also, and what's the Eden is Chochmah. I'm sorry, no. Just the way they wrote it here, confusing. Simple. The Gan in Gan Eden HaElyon is Bina, and the Gan in Gan Eden HaTachten is Chochmah. And what's being drawn into them? The first level, Chochmah to Bin, and the second, Zoh into Malchus. So he says Chochmah to Zoh in Malchus. The difference between the two is Asakas Achiyov, that's Gan Eden HaTachten, that's affirmative understanding, because you're understanding the tzir of a likus, whereas Gan Eden HaElyon is Asakas Hashlila, because you're connecting to the Mahus of a likus. And that can only come after the bittul of the tzir, of the oifen of Hasog of Gan Eden HaTachten, as we explained at length when we learned the Maimah. And yet Avodah, that's the two levels of Milah. The first level, Omaltem, es orlas levavchem. What blocks the heart is not just Avedas, but even Taiva, and even just not L'Shem Shemayim. And that is removed through the Avodah b'chol levav v'chol nafshecha. That's Avodah of Yaakov, because he's replacing physical engagement and pleasure with spiritual. Then there's a higher level. Hashem himself will circumcise your heart, which he explains is the gili of the Etzem and the Neshama, Yechida, and that removes any trace of self altogether. The Gashmi Yeshebalev, the Afrurius, as he called it later. And that's the Avodah b'chol ma'itcha, and that's the removal of the whole sense of Metzius. It's no longer Kivas Elikim Litoiv, but rather the Avodah Mitzad Elikus. That's the Avodah of Yisrael. And that in general is the Avodah that's what we're up to now. Which is Birid HaKosher Ibseilis. Avodah Sachol is removing that which is unwanted, undesirable, that which is Pseilis, which is no, I'm forgetting a good word for it in English.
Waste.
What? Waste? Yeah, that's, yeah. Inferior. It's inferior and it's waste. So that's the avodah of Yemei Sachel, whereas Shabbos is birur oichel mitoich oichel. Now it's a higher level of birur, going from kivas elikim litoiv to yachid levavi. As it says, lasid lavai, one of the nevuos says, v'achaltem mochel, lasoiva. So there's repetition there. V'achaltem lasoiva. You're eating food because you're eating that which is already in this batter. It's referring to Nefesh Bahamis. It's referring to the world in general. So he's already elevated, though he's in the world of Kedusha, but now he's going in the world of Kedusha from this is beautiful to this is the truth. So much so that at the end of the Maimah, that ois over there was that the revelation Lasid Lavai, that we're going from the highest levels now to then, is similar to such that even those neshamas that was azera Adam are considered like zera behema relative to what they're going to receive, because behema again is self, and they'll need a further birur, and that's the neshamas chadashas that he brings from the Alter Rebbe, and that's the aliyah sheli be'erech, which is in of course the pasuk there. This pasuk v'achalta machal asay v'lahafli. No, v'zarati lechem. V'zarati in the pasuk that speaks about I will seed you. Zera Adam, Zera Behemoth concludes there the union of lahafli, because this is a wondrous revelation. Zel gam inyan halish v'nishmas hatzadik min ishana b'shana b'efen the lahafli, that the tzaddik, this is Yud Beis Tammuz, this Maimer, so that the tzaddik, the nasi has an aliyah every year in a wondrous way. The old tzir is in this battle, and we talked about this in the Rebbe's Nasias, and there's a whole new Eifen. And after the Stalkos, it's in a way that's been a Gelam Shachal Amata, not that he disconnects, on the contrary, he connects ever deeper. And that's connected, he says, to that year, Tavshin Chafei, the capital of the Fidik Rebbe Simen, capital Pei Vav 86, Yached Levavi. So here's the avoid of Yached Levavi, that's the Skalalos of Chetzeni 7, Pnimius Alev, that's the two levels of Orla, the two levels of parallel in Yaakov and Yisrael, relatively speaking, and the Natachnik and the Nehelian, etc. That the avodah of B'chol Ma'itcha permeates the avodah of B'chol Nafshecha, B'chol Levavcha, and B'chol Nafshecha. It doesn't bring it here, but the whole arichas there that Barasav Yetzartiv, Af Asisiv, Barasav Yetzartiv, Asisiv is Machshav Dibur Ma'isa, but Af comes to include even a fourth level, and that's a manashoma, and that's this galadafka where in Ma'isa B'Poel is said in a little iskafia. And that's the connection to Afar Yaakov, which is Avodah Sheshayich Banyan Afrodis. This is the Avodah of Yaakov, where he's not translucent. There is a Metzias of Yeshus, Kirvus Elikim Litov. Mitzad Hergesh Atzmois, he says Litov. But then there's the higher Avodah, or Mispa Maloshan Svirus, or Behirus, brilliance and translucence. There's no sense of self, it's all you. Roiva Yisrael, that's the Avodah of Yisrael, and that's the Avodah of Roiva, which Roiva is the fourth level beyond Barasav Yitzarativ Asisiv. That is the Pnimis HaNeshama. That was the Chetzonius HaNeshama. But this is Yached Levavi. That's the Avodah B'chinas HaRavius, the fourth level. And what's that? Rusa Deliba, that's the inner desire, the Neshama, that is all for Likus, not for its own fulfillment, but for the Eibishter's Vegun. And that permeates all the four levels. Af Asisiv. Just not clear on all four levels, because that is the fourth level. So I mean, it permeates all four levels. So we're not sure about that word, but we'll look up the source. I'm sure it'll become clearer. Okay, so now we're going to get in the next Maimer, which is a Hemshech, Pashas Balak, Shivas B'Tamas Nitche, Tavshin Chavhei.